All right, we're incognito here at a big box store to show all the things that you need for a DIY window install. I think it's gonna add up quite a bit here. So,
Desert King Windows, we knock out the weather.
all right, so it looks like a 48 by 48 right here, gelled win. We definitely wanna do a video on that. Let's get that one. We'll install that one in our house. It looks like we got 242 bucks. So after tax, you know, 260 or so, somewhere right in there. There's thing number one. That's obviously a nice low price. All right, let's see here. We got the sealants here. Now, obviously, sealant is incredibly important. This is what's waterproof in your house and waterproof in your install. So let's see what we got here. This one right here is $14 for a single tube. We use about 3 tubes of our sealant per window on average, per unit on average. So let's see if this is even good enough. Because what we're looking for is a polyurethane. That's gonna work the best for you. Silicones work great, but they're not paintable. And so that's the problem with, you know, trying to pick between the 2 different sealants. Silicone's phenomenal, just not paintable. And you need to have it needs to be paintable. So let's see here, $14 a tube times at least 3 of those. Let's see if this is, none of them are saying polyurethane. So probably a blend of some kind. But these are made, supposedly made just for windows and all that. Now, general rule of thumb, what you get in a big box store is, even the top quality of a big box store is not going to be top quality in a specialty store. I woodwork, that's what I do for fun. And when I come here to grab the basic stuff, you know, in the big box store, it's right down the street. But if I need specific pocket hole screws, or if I need specific items for a build, I'm gonna go to woodworker stores, something that's specific to it, because you won't find it in the big box stores. It's a one size fits all kind of a thing. All right, now we got, of course, we gotta have our foam, our low expansion vapor foam. Great stuff, doesn't have a great reputation in our industry. You know, it's what's available at the box store here. Of course, you got the Gorilla stuff there, but what you're looking for is a low expansion foam. It doesn't say anything about being absolutely low expansion. So that is important, because especially with a vinyl frame, getting a window like that, it's gonna flex even more than a regular vinyl frame. If you put in something that's too expandy, you will actually bow your frame. Therefore, you won't get the right seal on the window, and it also won't operate as well. So that's kind of defeating the purpose of replacing the window, right? So this is extremely important, though it's not very expensive, $5 for a can, and 1 can will actually go quite a long way. So you probably get the whole 2 windows out of 1 can. It's inexpensive, but it also could completely ruin your install if it's the wrong one. All right, shims, pretty inexpensive, but extremely important for a window install. This is how you're gonna get it to, you're gonna be able to level it, get it plumb level and squared, because not every RO, in fact, majority of ROs in the house, the rough openings, are not plumb level and square. So this is gonna help you with that, especially with doors. Super helpful with doors. We generally like to use the composite shims just because, you know, we're doing this stuff for a lifetime. So wood shims, they tend to deteriorate after a while. You can still use wood shims and just hope that you don't have any kind of seal failure, and then you got a problem. Oh, and then of course, if you're casing your door, over here you got all the casing packages here. We got some brick mold here, which isn't used very often in Phoenix and Vegas, but that is used in the Texas markets. You're gonna need a really good quality ladder, because if that thing gives away, well, that's you that's on it. That's kind of important. You gotta be safe. Yeah, it looks like, yeah, and the aisle's blocked off. So you can't get a ladder right now, but you need one. At the very least, you need a ladder to at least caulk the top of the window, right? All right, this is pretty important here. If you're doing any trim work that's on the exterior, have to use this. You cannot use primed pine. You can't use the same, you know, casing that you're using on the inside that's beautiful. You have to use this composite stuff right here. So 1 stick usually does 1 window, and that's $35 right there just for the stick. It's not including the any kind of liquid nails or any sealants that are on the exterior, or the nails and the nail gun. We'll get to tools here in a minute, but these are very important. And these tools are actually, or these screws are actually pretty good. These Goldies, these construction screws, these do work really nicely. $15 a box. So you got $35 for the exterior trim. That should take care of 1 window. Another $15 for screws. 1 box per 2 windows, I'd say, is about an average. Drywall repair, really important. Now, the pros are always going to use the easy sand, the 5-minute mud or the 20-minute mud. That is, as soon as you mix it with water, and that countdown goes quick. And so that's just so you can sand it right there on the spot instead of waiting for a day or something. Otherwise, you get an all-purpose here. You slap it on the wall there, and you got to wait for a day until you can sand it and put it on another coat. And then, of course, you have to texture it. You're probably going to need some drywall tape. So let's see here, you got some fabric tapes here. I personally like the net that was right there on the bottom. I like those. Of course, drywall, if the bigger chunk that needs to be taken, you take an actual drywall. Let's check out these drywall tools over here. Now we're getting into the drywall tool. Oh, here's some flashing. Look at that, some flashing tape. Just happens to be over here by the drywall tools. That is not impressive. Look how thin that is. Thin each layer that is. Wow. All right. How much is this? Man, I wouldn't even look at the price because I wouldn't buy it. But let's say that we are. This roll is $36. Man, well, we buy this in bulk, so not only is it a much bit higher quality, much thicker, much safer to use without seal failures, but it also even costs less. So yeah, ouch. Now looking at drywall tools specifically here. Let's see here, we got you're going to need the bigger taping knife at the very end. That's 13 and change. You need a taping knife. That's 15 bucks. You're probably going to need the joint, like the joint compound, like a knife to get it out, and that's going to be some basic stuff like this. 20 bucks. You can get a cheaper one for 12. Nothing too crazy there, but you know, it does start. It adds up. I mean, right here in tools, you're already over 50 bucks. That quick. Of course, sandpaper, sanding block for drywall, because you got to be able to sand it down. That's 6, 7, 8 bucks, something like that. So yeah, adds up. All right, let's talk tools here. All right, so the first thing we got to do is we got to take the window out, right? Then after that, we need to tear out the frame, right? So what do we tear out the frame with? Let's see, we're going to need pry bars. I know I've seen them around here somewhere. Level is obviously extremely important. How are you supposed to find plumb, level, and square if you don't have a level? You need a hammer. If you're gonna do some work around your house, you need a hammer, and it needs to be a good hammer. Of course, you got pry bars there. We'll get some pry bars. I see a hammer, that's nice. Just gonna always get these ones right here where it's steel all the way down here, because when you get these ones, it'll come off the actual stock. Obviously, that's not a hammer, it's an axe, but it'll come off the stock here pretty easily after a few years. This is what you want to go with, man. That's nice. 25 bucks to get you a solid one. If you're installing in masonry, you're gonna need a chisel too, because sometimes you gotta chisel out a little bit of that. If you have a nice measurement, it's gonna be a tight fit. That's what you're doing, is chiseling a little bit just to make sure it's right. Pry bars, you definitely need a good pry bar or two. You need a few good pry bars to do this here. This one's only 20 bucks. This wasn't not a pry bar, this is a wrecking bar. That'll get your door out. That'll get your door out of there. You'll notice some window installers, they're gonna have 5 or 6 different pry bars. Oh, of course, absolutely need to have a good quality carpenter knife here. Oof. If you are doing any kind of trim work at all, absolutely 100% have to have a nice miter saw. You don't have to go all out and get a professional one like we have. Like we have these nice, $700 or $800 ones. You can get away with a $200 or $300 one, and you will use it way more often than you think. So that you're definitely gonna have to have that. This one's on sale for 280 bucks. That's a really good one there. Probably window installer's most important thing is drill. Let's go look at the drill. Let's go look at the drills. So you have your impact drill right there. That's going to get that screw. If you're going into masonry, it's going to get it. It won't get it directly into masonry. You'll need a different drill for that one. But usually with the stick and stucco homes and stuff like that, this impact will get you through there. Regular drill, variable speed drill there. Oh, price. Good impact drill, $229. That including the battery, because the battery is usually 100 bucks of it. Tool only. That doesn't even include the battery. So add another 100 bucks for the battery. Tearing out a window, you cannot tear out a window without a reciprocating saw, a sawzall. This one right here is 129, but don't worry, you can share the battery with your drill. So that one right here, 129 bucks plus blades. Blades are not cheap. You got to get those. Oh, here we go. 20 bucks right there for some blades. There's a good starter pack right there. Use a grinder, an angle grinder right here. Use a grinder right there. It's probably the first tool that you use on a window. So it's installed, whether it's in stucco, generally in stucco, and you want to grind all the way around it. So here's a grinder for 200 bucks. Again, that's tool only, but don't worry. You can use that one battery for all 3 of these tools. May have to get the charger too. Drill bits, especially the 3/8 is very important. 22 bucks. Yep, 23 bucks. See, the guy almost tried to guess with the 98. 23 bucks. Multi-tools are great to have for when you're doing trim work and all that stuff. Great to get into the corners, drywall, all that stuff. Or if you're cutting, maybe you're cutting the stucco flange a little bit, or you're cutting off a nail fin or something like that. But going to be about 150 bucks for one of those. Again, you can share the same battery with the other 3 tools. Of course, tape measure, 10, 15 bucks. All right, well, here's more on the sealants, the caulking. Super important, right? Usually a subcontractor that has to purchase his own sealants, and he's going to get the cheapest thing possible, which is going to be, $5, $6, $7, something like that. When really, we want to go with something a lot higher hold, a lot more intense hold, like a polyurethane, or like I said, a silicone. Silicone works great, it's just the wrong color. Now, the caulking gun. This is important. This is like Doc Holliday's, 6-shooter. You have to have a good caulking gun that you are comfortable with. Now these ones that look all fancy and stuff, yeah, that's fine. That's all fine and dandy, but this right here, that's a good one right there. The reason is, check this out. As we're moving, watch this. So that action is going to be a lot smoother on the other end. This is a really good caulking gun. I really like this one a lot. These cheaper ones that you're going to save, $7, $8 on, it's not going to be worth that saving. An incredibly important part is you want to contain the mess. So drop cloths, just one drop cloth. $23 for a single drop cloth. You're gonna need a few of those. You're gonna need outside, inside. You're gonna need plastic, a lot of this plastic, and this isn't really reusable. They're only $3 each, but you're gonna want a lot of those sheets to throw over all your furniture and everything that you wanna cover. I personally like to put this rosin paper down. I like to tape it to the ground if I'm working on tile, or even, you know, like hardwood floors or something like that, because it's gonna protect it a little bit more and it stays put instead of kind of getting caught or anything like that. When you use the tarps, they're great, but if you drop some sealant or some caulking on there and you don't see it and you step on it and then you go stepping into the rest of the house, that's a problem. So I also like to run those tarps where I'm walking to and from and in, or even the rosin paper all the way through there. The rosin paper, one roll of that, it's 36 inches wide and goes 167 feet. That's $14. That's a great buy right there. You're gonna need a nail gun. Okay, for any trim. Nail gun's important. Finish nailer. What makes the finish nailer work is a compressor. This one actually comes with a few different ones, where you get, this one's $300 for all of these. Compressor, nail guns, all that. Of course, arrows, super important. You can go with the $50 one here, the $30 one. Personally, I like to go with a thicker, longer hose right here with the reels, and those are going to be, you know, 50, 60 bucks. Ooh, man, this is actually one that I have, and that was 120 apparently. That's the one that bolts to the wall though, so I can pull it and then it automatically reels up. It's pretty nice actually, works pretty well. Of course, you got to have to get all the gadgets with it too, so you can attach it. So, and that adds up pretty quick. 23 bucks gets you all of it, but then you can get some other stuff along with it, or you can break that up, of course. Very important when using nail guns. Put a couple drops of oil in it before use every single time. It's going to last forever. All right, of course, you absolutely have to have a shop vac. A lot of people think bigger is better. Not the case. I made that mistake once too. Giant shop vac, and it's a giant pain in the butt to carry, to get in and out of the house and drag it around. It's just in the way in the garage. Get one of these smaller ones. Do yourself a favor. Get one of these smaller, powerful ones. Shop vac right here makes a good one. Little Craftsman over here. I think Rigid makes a really good shop vac. Smaller shop vac. That's a good one. I'm sure we're missing lots of stuff here. I feel like I'm missing all kinds of things. And then James is going to watch this video and he's going to go, "Well, you forgot this, ding dong. You forgot this, you dork. You forgot this one." He's going to go right down the list. And I'm like, ah. So I'm going to put a list right here for you of all the things that I missed. All right, I got my window. We showed you around all the different prices and all the different things. I'm sure I missed a lot of them, but don't worry. The magic of video editing will help fill in the blanks there. And then we're gonna go back to the office and we're gonna tear this thing apart, and I'm gonna show you the insides of a big box store brand versus true specialty window and door company.
We use the best windows, 'cause nothing works better. Desert King Windows, we knock out the weather.